Congratulations, Mr. Ingram. I am so excited that you received this award. It's a long time coming, and you are so deserving of this, if anyone is. I think we ought to celebrate with an RC Cola and a moon pie. I can just hear you saying that in class. I can't imagine driving 20 miles each way from Moccasin Creek for 44 years. Do you know how many miles that is? Well, I do. It's approximately 334,400 miles. That's a lot of miles, Mr. Ingram. And I don't know if some of that was on a horse or not. Just joking. Anyway, I'm really excited for you and happy for you, and glad that I was able to be asked to say a couple things about you to honor you, and maybe even to embarrass you a little bit too, because you've done plenty of that to me over the years. I'll recall a couple stories here. I remember as a student in your class, I had fallen asleep one time. I know I didn't do that very often, but one time I did. And you were so nice to just go ahead and turn off the lights and let the class leave when the class was over. And I woke up in the middle of that classroom. It was dark. I was scared to death. I didn't know what had happened. And I had slept through almost all of lunch. And I came down and found you in the lunchroom, and I said, "Mr. Ingram, why did you let me sleep through lunch?" And you said, "Well, you just look so peaceful. I couldn't hardly stand to wake you." And the other story I remember is, I remember a lot of them, but the other one I'm going to tell is as a colleague of yours, when we were sitting in Dunbar Auditorium and the entire faculty was there. So we were, the whole thing was, the whole district was in Dunbar listening to an out-of-town speaker. And she was saying something that maybe I didn't agree with, and I whispered to you, and that was a mistake on my part because you raised your hand, and it wasn't even a question and answer time. And she called on you, and you said, "My friend Garrett has something he wants to say." And I tried to crawl under my seat. I don't even remember how that ended. I don't remember what I said, but thanks a lot for that one. So if I embarrass you today, then it's payback. I also wanted to thank you for your teaching style, the way that you did that. I had you 2 years. I had you for geometry as a sophomore and algebra 2 as a junior. And it was basically that algebra 2 class prepped me for all the things I was going to see in college. I had such a strong foundation when I got to college, and I realized that then. So I'm so grateful to you for that. And when I started teaching, I thought about that a lot and adopted a lot of those strategies that you had. One of the things that teachers talk about a lot, especially these days, is getting to know your students. That is one of the most important things that a teacher can do, is to get to know their students. And I think about you, not only did you know your students, you probably taught their parents and probably their grandparents by the time that I had you. And I just think that was amazing. You not only knew about the student, you knew about their family, you knew everything about them. And that's something I really didn't realize the importance of until I was a teacher. And so I'm very thankful for having somebody like you that really could connect with the students in that way. I think that is just amazing. And I'm starting to see that now as a teacher. This is my 24th year, and I'm starting to see that I'm teaching some of the students that I had 20 years ago. And so I think about you a lot in that. So I've talked about being a student of yours, being a colleague of yours, and now I'll just talk about being a friend of yours for a little while. And the times getting to come out and visit you and Thelma are just so special. When the kids were younger, we would bring them out, and y'all might take them on the four-wheelers or things like that, and y'all were always so welcoming, and still are. Just love having people out to your place, and it is such a welcoming place. One of the things that I appreciate as a colleague was you showed us how to be a good friend and a good coworker. You always ate down in the cafeteria, which is one of the things I didn't quite understand because there weren't very many teachers that did that. to eat in all the noise and all that down at the cafeteria seemed pretty chaotic. But I came to really enjoy those times at the lunch table, and we still do that. And that's something, we still tell stories about you. We still quote you all the time, and that's something that you instilled in me and those people the people that you were around is just that the importance of spending time with and getting to know your coworkers, and it wasn't just a job, and that's still with us today. And you started that tradition a long time ago, and we're still having a big lunch group down there now, bigger than ever actually, and I thank you for that.
Mr. Ingram, congratulations, first of all, for being inducted to the Mountain Home Education Foundation Hall of Honor. They come to me and ask to say something, and I guess I'd start by saying, I took Mr. Ingram for Algebra 2 my junior year. I enjoyed his class so much, I took him again for Algebra 2 my senior year. Won't go into details, but I had Mr. Ingram 2 years for the same class. But Mr. Ingram was always a great teacher, great person. He cared about me and everybody else more than just a student. He cared about me being involved in my athletics and was always asked me about it, so I really appreciate that. The other part was, now I graduate, I think he was surprised I become a teacher after having him twice. But every year we'd have a coach's fishing retreat, and there's two non-coaches that we invite every year, and that was Garrett Rucker. We invited him because he had a fishing boat, and then we would invite Mr. Ingram because he cooked great pies. So he would come every year. He didn't miss a day. Mr. Ingram would come. But what we enjoyed most was after we get done fishing, we would just sit and just talk, and we'd talk about everything. And he was just like one of us. Who would ever think Mr. Ingram would be a coach? But he fit in just like one of us, and we enjoyed having him. Going back to when I had him as a teacher, he would always talk about, Husky, do you want to be in the penthouse or you want to be in the slums? And pretty much what that means, if you behaved, you got to sit in good places in the penthouse, or if you didn't behave, he would put you closer to him, which he called the slums. And for 2 years, I lived in the slums. But Mr. Ingram was great, was a great teacher, a great friend, great colleague, and there's not anyone more deserving to be in the Mountain Home Education Foundation or the Hall of Honor than him. So, Mr. Ingram, congratulations.
I just found out that you're going to get the last word, so I'm going to be careful what I say, and I'll close with this. We come in contact with so many people, and so many people influence our lives that we probably only have just a small handful that really have just that amazing impact, and you are one of those people for me. And so I want to thank you again for that, and once again congratulate you for this honor, and I hope you enjoy this night, and I hope you're nice to me when you get up and say something. Thank you, Mr. Ingram. We all love you.
Well, it's such an honor to be here, and I just appreciate Garrett and Mitch. They were just favorites of mine. Of course, I couldn't even begin to name all the favorites because I had so many. But I've been seeing tonight just numbers of you that I hadn't seen in a long time, both teachers that I taught with and both students that I taught. And of course, some that I taught together and also taught at as a student. And anyway, I appreciate it so much, appreciate the honor. And I just have, after this came about, well, I didn't say much about it, but then after it got around Facebook, it just boomeranged. I got the most cards and phone calls and just everything, just congratulating me. And I do appreciate those congratulations and the people thinking of me. I really do. And of course, Jennifer drove all the way down to Calico Rock. She got to travel new country in order to get this set up, and I appreciate you, Jennifer. So that's good. I was just going to tell you a couple of things that was in my career. Number one, I started school rather, at the Baxter and Easter County line in a one-room schoolhouse. Went the first 2 grades, and there was 3 of us in the class. So I had a big school there to do that. It was a good experience anyway, and I did enjoy that. Then at the 3rd grade, I transferred. They consolidated the Moccasin Creek School, which is what they call it, consolidated, and we went to Calico Rock. And that seemed like a big switch. I rode the school bus even. The cheese wagon, the kids called it later on. Rode the school bus. Then after that, of course, I finished in high school, finished Calico Rock High School in 1959. I went to the University of Arkansas to enroll in the College of Engineering. And let me tell you folks, I found out right off I was not engineering material. I guarantee you, was not engineering material. So I got out of that, and of course the next thing seemed to be to go to education, and it worked out really well for me. I did my student teaching in Springdale, Arkansas. Had a good experience in teaching, and a good person to work with. And she was leaving that year. Her husband had graduated from the university as an engineer, so she was moving on. And so they offered me the job in Springdale. Mr. Roberts was so nice about it. And anyway, he told me he'd give me $2,800. Well, I found out there was an opening in Mountain Home. So I went down and talked to Bentley Stracer, and he hired me, and I thought I was really rich because he gave me $3,300. And when I tell that story, I always told it to the students while they would say, "You mean a month, don't you?" And I'm afraid I don't. I'm afraid it was a whole year. So anyway, that was a good deal too. I stayed there for 44 years and loved it. And I love all of you and appreciate the honor. Thank you so much.
Joy and Mike, when I first heard that they had picked you to receive the Retired Classified Award, I was super, super excited for you. And then Jennifer asked me to do this video, and I was less excited because you know me well enough to know that I'd rather write you a long letter that's heartfelt and send you a card. But I wanted to honor you today and this evening. I hope you look around the room and you feel the warmth and the love there, and know that you're so appreciated for all your years of dedication to Mountain Home Public Schools, for the 45 years you put together of loving children and parents and co-workers, and I thank you and honor you for that. Joy and I met about 26 years ago at church, and we've been friends ever since. We're sort of like the female odd couple because we're opposites, and so, but through that, she's helped me, and I think I've helped her, and we've learned so much from each other from sharing that. Working with you has always been fun. And I know that Nelson Wilkes in kindergarten would agree with me when I say that your name truly fits who you are. There's not a better Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. No one could impersonate Miss Pat and Miss Sheila like you and I do, and absolutely nobody can run in heels like Joy Walker, for sure. Bill Hughes was always playing pranks on us at the old office, and probably his best was when he impersonated the water department and had you running to the men's and the women's restroom, flushing the potties to see which way the water was swirling, until I informed you it was probably a prank that he was doing. We were really a team, became great friends, didn't just share our good things, but we shared our weaknesses with each other, literally to the point that when Dr. Scriber left, we had enough information on him to give him a proper roast as he left. So I was super lucky to get to work alongside you for all those years. But the biggest blessing, the thing I'm most thankful for, is our friendship. We've spent years studying personalities, getting to know people, and we taught Sunday school together, high school, and now those girls are grown up and have families of their own. You walked with me through the birth of Shelby having cancer, being with me at Children's Hospital. Cody and Clint growing up, and now they're married, have beautiful wives, and you have grandchildren. Dalton getting married last month. So we've also walked through hard times together of losing family members and loving family members. I loved Esther and Doc Bayless, and I know that you love my Carrie. You're a talented writer and an incredible artist, and people may not know that about you. So I'm happy for you and Mike in that you get to live in your house overlooking the river. I hope you have great memories there for lots of time. Joy, you have the greatest gift to make people think that everybody is your best friend. And so I say, from this best friend to you, I love you.
Back in the late 90s, early 2000, I was on the Mountain Home School Board, and we were starting a lot of changes. We just hired a new superintendent, Steve Singleton, and under his guidance, his leadership, the public passed a millage, and we took on a real aggressive building program and renovation of all of our school buildings and additions. And part of his leadership was that he led the board to develop a new position in our school system. That was Director of Auxiliary Services. The board did that, and we had a lot of good candidates. A lot of people did apply. And as we went through those candidates, most all of them were educators. They had been superintendents, principals, and that sort of thing. And you know, our point in that project was to find someone that maybe knew a little bit more about construction, knew a little bit more about renovation, that sort of thing. So when we came upon Mike Walker's application, and looked through there, he was a licensed electrician, had been experienced in renovation and building and that sort of thing. And even though he was an educator, we felt like that he was the best fit for that job. And I can certainly say after his 20 years there that we did make the right choice. We did get a little flack at first from some of the teachers and other administrators that we didn't choose a person that was an educator. But we were looking more for a person that I guess knew a 2 by 4 from a 2 by 6, and Mike certainly did that. One of the things that really impressed me about Mike once he was in the job, we were visiting one day, and he was willing to tackle some of the tough projects that needed to be done. But he told me one day, he said his goal was to save the district at least equal to what his salary was per year. And I know from the projects and the things that he tackled, he was able to do that. And for all those reasons, that attitude, Mike, I want to say thank you for your service to the school system. Mountain Home School District is a better place because of your 20 years, and welcome to the Hall of Honor.
Hello, my name is Charles Scriber, former superintendent of the Mountain Home School System, and I want to congratulate Mike and Joy for being selected to the Hall of Honor for the Mountain Home Education Foundation. What a great couple. Mike, first I'll say a few words about you. My first recollection of your name, the former superintendent before me was Steve Singleton. We were riding around talking about the schools and different things, and your name came up. And he said this, "You cannot do without this man." And he was right. You have done a great job through the years for the system. You've been a great friend to the system and to me. You have always been a person that goes the extra mile. For example, you would get up early each morning, go to the shop, check things out, and then go to the kindergarten center and open doors for the kindergarten students at the car drop-off. You would greet them with a smile and a welcome each day. We appreciated that very much. Also, during bad weather, you would get up at 3:30 to 4 o'clock in the morning, ride the roads to make sure it was safe for the buses to travel. Also, you would set up for many events for the Mountain Home School System. You would, most of these events were after hours that you got no extra pay for. Thank you for going the extra mile. Your attributes can be characterized as outstanding. Some include skilled. You You were a skilled laborer. You were a skilled electrician. You taught me many things about being an electrician, and I still call you today. Thank you for that information. Thank you for helping. You're a hard worker. You're disciplined. You say no to the wrong and yes to the right. You are full of integrity. You are free from duplicity, which is hypocrisy. You are smart, dependable, yet friendly, gentle, and helpful to all that you come in contact with. All of that with a good sense of humor. Thank you, Mike. Congratulations for being selected. Joy, you are as beautiful on the inside as you are on the outside. And we know that inside beauty is probably more valuable than outside beauty. You had a sign on your desk once that said, "Joy comes in the morning." I think someone gave that to you. And it is very appropriate that you have that sign, because when people see you coming, they are glad to see you coming. You enlighten the room. You are friendly to all. Thank you for being a great person in that respect. And some of your attributes include you're kind, loyal to what is right, efficient, helpful, uplifting, energetic, honest, and very resourceful. You're always willing to serve and put others first, and that is a great attribute. I'm also indebted to you for one other thing. After I retired, my first wife Janice passed away, and I was visiting with you at the kindergarten center, and we were just talking. I had some questions about retirement and some insurance questions, and we were talking, and you asked me if I had considered dating. And I said, "Well, not really." She said, "Well, I know someone that would be a good fit for you. Her name is Kathy Shy." Well, I was a little bit taken back, but I said, "If you will arrange for me to email her, then we will start a conversation." And the rest is history. Kathy and I are very happy. Thank you very much. In closing, John F. Kennedy said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country." Mike and Joy, you have delivered this mantra to the system. You said, "Ask not how the system can serve me, but how I can serve the system."
Well, wow, can you hear me? This has really been fun. We were in the parade yesterday, and that was really fun. And we volunteered at the kindergarten this morning, and that was really fun. And this food tonight was great. And those videos were, wow, they were great. And I don't know who they were talking about, but I don't think it was us. But anyway, and now it's come from the speech. This is not so much fun, but this is what I thought. I'm going to try to be interesting. You guys try to look interested. You don't have to be. It can, just fake it till you make it, and then after this, we won't speak of it again. So anyway, I just feel really cool. It was just a really cool thing to be involved with the other inductees, and I didn't realize that I had such a personal connection with other inductees until I visited with Jennifer, and she told me who the other people were. And Mr. Ingram, that sweet best friend that was on the video for me, she said, y'all have 45 years in the district together, and Mr. Ingram has 45 years just himself, so it takes two of y'all to make one of him. And I said, well, yeah, that's true. That's true. Thanks, Lisa. But on a personal note, you were our son's advisor, and you were his math teacher. And our son would probably have liked to have just skipped high school altogether and college. But you kept him on track, got him all the credits that he, made sure that he got all the credits he needed. You were always calm and endearing and just a caring spirit. And he would have liked to just kind of maybe been an NBA player, but because of you, because you invested in him, he's a contributing member of society now, and he's a senior vice president at a bank in Hattiesburg, and so we're proud that you had that investment in him, and not only him, but all the other students. In Baxter Regional, where y'all are right here, Cody, he did the internship at Baxter Regional. And because of it, he fell in love with the medical field. And so now he started as a nurse, and then he went to get his administration, master's in administration, and then now he's an administrator at a hospital in Birmingham. And so your connection with the school was connected with us and so many others that you've connected with. And Dean Sanders, I didn't realize this, but I go to Walmart probably twice a week. And I felt like, yes, Sam's. And we went to Northwest Arkansas and saw Mr. Walton's office. So I kind of feel like we're family. I'm not sure why you haven't been invited to Thanksgiving, but I'm looking into it. So anyway, it's nice to be with all of y'all. The career that I had at Mountain Home School District, I learned 5 important things. And it started when I started at the computer lab. You saw that state-of-the-art computer lab. Yeah, that's right. And so it was really kind of a utopia there. Because kids love computers, there were no discipline problems. So that was great. I was kind of in my own little world. Everything was a happy little world, and we were at an elementary school, so we got to wear costumes, and so that was really cool. And elementary students will come up to you just without reason and hug you. And when they hug, they sway. And as they're hugging you, sometimes they're giving you a compliment, and they're saying, Miss Walker, you have really pretty shoes. Miss Walker, you smell so good. And so, I mean, you got these kudos all day. You don't have any discipline problems, and you're in your own little world. And it was a pretty good gig. And so I just was really oblivious from anything else that was going on, but I wanted things right in my computer lab. There was a position that came open in the office, and I thought, well, you know, I've done this for a while, I'd like to change. So I applied for the position in the office there at that school, and it was Nelson Wilkes Barre, and I got it and moved to the office, and I found out, I knew there was a lot of people there, but there was 38 people that were working at the Nelson Wilkes Barre, and they all had access to the intercom that was in my office. And there was some weird thing about an open door policy that people could just come in and out all day long. They had questions, they just come in and out. And there was a phone on the desk, and it didn't have a silencer. I mean, it was the most bizarre thing. Principal come in, act like they needed something too. I mean, it was a little different from being in the computer lab. And so I realized that there was a bigger world out there. But thanks to the open door policy, we did have students that come in and give you random hugs. And so I did get those, and they still said, Miss Walker, you have nice shoes. You smell good. And so I still got the kudos, and that was good. Well, a few years later, there was an opening at central office. I applied for it. I got it. And there was several positions that I held at central office. Started with student records. I found out that the state gives you money for how many students there are in the district. And so you have to count those students. And you have to give reports. And they will come by and check to see if you counted right. And they'll check to see if those kids have been going to school for 178 days. And you've got to account for all of that stuff. And you couldn't wear costumes. and there weren't random hugs at Cineplex. They didn't say they liked my shoes. No one said that. Anyway, I did student records for a while, and then I went into payroll and benefits, and I found out that there were 500 employees in the district, and they wanted to be paid twice a month. And just all this neediness, it was everywhere. But I found that the world was bigger than the computer lab, and so it was eye-opening. I did when I was working in benefits, people would call sometimes, and they'd need to know, do I have a cancer policy, and what does that cover? And I'd find out things about different employees that were going through a lot of hard times, and they still showed up at work as much as they could, gave 100% when they didn't have 100% to give. And so all of the employees in the district, I just admired so much. And it was a long way from the computer lab. But I went from payroll back to the back part of the office. And in the back part of the office, that's where the superintendent and the assistant superintendent live. And I worked for 2 assistant superintendents and 2 superintendents. And that is where there's a lot of choppy waters in the back part of the office, and there's a lot of high wind gusts in the back part of the office, and there's a lot of big decisions that have to be made by those people, and a lot of heavy decisions, and all those decisions affected a lot of people, and I saw that they had to have great resolve to deal with that. They had to be calm in the storm. And they were. They didn't need to wear costumes anytime, and no one ever, I don't ever remember anyone telling the superintendent that they had pretty shoes. And there was an open door policy, but it wasn't for little children coming in to give Raymond hugs. So they had to do that without the kudos. It was a bigger world. I saw the district from all different places. Well, a job opening came open at the kindergarten, and I applied for it, and I got it. And it was in the office, and there was an intercom, and there was a phone without a silencer, and there was an open door policy, and there was a principal, but there were costumes. And you could wear costumes not only on the major holidays, but you could wear costumes on Charlie Brown Thanksgiving Day. You could wear 5 different costumes on Dr. Seuss Week. I mean, 5 different Seuss characters. They had Johnny Appleseed Week, where you smelled baked apples all down the hall. They had Hundreds Day. And Hundreds Day is a lot like New Year's Day, except you're missing one of the numbers. But some of the people, we'd have Hundreds Day, and we could dress up as 100-year-old people, and then some of the children didn't like coming back for 101 Day. But it was like lessons at the kindergarten. I mean, you need to grow up sometime. So, in conclusion, there were 5 things I learned while I was there. You need to keep a level head when you're in choppy waters with high winds. You need to act like an adult when it's necessary. You need to give compliments, because somebody always, somewhere, has pretty shoes. Costumes are fun, and you need to give hugs often, because everybody needs one.
Did she use all our time? I'll let this work out if you need to. Mr. Sanders, I was so impressed last night that they put us in Corvettes, and I thought, man, this is great, what a gift. that comes along with the award. I thought, man, you know, how did they decide which one to give? But we got to down to Guy Berry and he took them away from us. So. But we sure enjoyed riding in those cars last night. It was quite an honor. And what an honor it is for me to stand here realizing who's been selected in the past and inducted into this Hall of Honor. Today I was over at the high school and I was visiting with Brent Boje and Ron Shinskowski and I believe one of the SROs was standing there and Dr. Long walks up. I believe it was the SRO said, man, congratulations for this award that you received. And I said, I don't know how we got picked. I mean, with all the people that have been selected before us, I don't know how that happened. And Dr. Long said, it was for joy. I said, okay, I'll see how we got it. Well, when I started, 20 years just flew by. But I remember when Mr. Singleton called me, and he said, would you be interested in coming talking with us about working for the school? And I thought, okay, well, I'll talk to you. So I went into his office and he said, well, there's this maintenance department, and, you take care of buildings. And then he showed me a 2.5-page typed list of projects that Rick was talking about a minute ago. And whenever you get a list from the superintendent, it's like, remodel. I remember one of the things that was on that list was remodel the north wing of Pinkston. And that means you go in, gut it, new floor, ceiling, paint the walls, And I thought, well, yeah, that's one item. And item number 2, I believe, was remodel the media center at Senior High School. Okay, we do 2 projects like that. And then just reading on through the list, and he said, I tell you what, dude, go over and see Janie McFall. And she'll tell you what the job's all about. And I don't know, I'm sure many of you know who Janie McFall was. Anyhow, I drove over to her office, and I sat down beside her desk, and she was typing a letter to somebody. And she said, can I help you? And I said, Mr. Singleton sent me over here. He said, you could tell me what this job's all about. And she smiled and she said, well, we have a thing called maintenance requests. I said, well, that's cool. Write down a little deal. I need a pencil sharpener, or, who couldn't handle that, She said, oh, no. She said, there's about 60 a day. And I said, well, what kind of things are you talking about? I said, okay, we looked through those things, and she said, and then there's the school buses. And she said, there's probably 70 of those, and you've got to buy all the parts for those and keep, the budget, and develop the budget. And then there's that food service thing. And I remember her looking over her glasses, looking at me, and just to see if I was going to run, Because 2 hours later, I was asking myself, can I do this? Because I was an electrician, had my own deal, and I thought, man, I work for myself. Ooh, I don't know if I want to do this. But not if I want to, but can I do it? Pay all the bills for the district, purchase all the supplies, do the payroll. I don't know what she was thinking. I don't know if she was thinking, boy, I don't think you can do this. Or I don't know if she thought that at all, but I wondered because she looked over her glasses at me. But one of the things I didn't know, as I did, looking back, there's over 700 air conditioners and heaters in there. I don't know how many toilets. And you know, somehow or another, there's always something in them. There's 750,000 square feet that have to be maintained. That's a couple hundred acres of yard that has to be mowed. So, can I do this? And so, 20 years later, I look back and yes, I did it. But the way I did it was people like Janie McFall, people like Carla Martin, who actually do the work and make it look like I did. Because behind every man, there's usually a woman that does the work. And Janie was one of those, and so was Carla. And then my maintenance crew, man, I tell you, every year we just kept building. I know made some people mad. I hired Jim Brown's best senior technician to work on our air conditioners. I hired J.B. Dewey's plumber away from him. I was really popular with some of the people. But we built a team of maintenance men that could take care of all these problems. And then there were the bus drivers. I mean, what a team every day. They're there before it's dark, they're coming in. Dedicated, and so thankful that over that 20 years, no one got hurt. It just amazes me how many miles they drive and the responsibility they have. And then the food service workers that I worked with. All of these people, what a staff. You can't do it without a great staff. And then there's forward-thinking board members who support you. When the board hired me, I think right before they hired me, they bought 65 acres, I believe it was. Thinking, I think it was Mr. Hackler that said we'd never need another building other than Guy Berry. But the board members, I guess, could see down the road, and they bought that land. And I'll never forget when we cleared the woods between the junior high and West Road, and we partnered with the city to build a road through there to connect. The road is ended there at the junior high. It was one of the first things that I'd worked on. And then we built central office in there on the property. We built Hackler School on the property, and now you've got your McLean Park. And I thought, well, how smart those board members were to reach out and purchase that way before we had plans to, or even know what was going to be on it. And so when you've got that kind of support from the board who encourage you and fund you, it's awesome. And then there's superintendents. Superintendents, I served under 4 of them. I learned so much from these superintendents. It's funny, superintendents are like teachers, and I guess that's because they probably were teachers prior to being superintendents. But they expect you to keep learning. They really do. And I learned so much from them, and they always encouraged me to educate myself by going to state meetings, learning all the different regulations, inspections that go on with school building. But the 4 superintendents, Don Quinn said it. He said, superintendents are like pendulums; they swing back and forth. One may be over here, not that that's a bad place to be, or the next one may be over here. And you learn from that, because not that either side is bad, it's just that they're different. Steve Singleton, I'd go into his office, and I need help, and I'd say, Mr. Singleton, I got a problem, what do I do about this? And he would look at me and he'd say, Mike, what's your policy book say? And I thought, wow, I thought you just answered the question, help me, It really was helping me. Because it made me go back and learn, what is our policy here? You have to have policies and regulations to work by, and that taught me so much. Dr. Schreiber would say, Mike, inspect what you expect. And boy, that that really run with me. And so to be a better manager of people and processes, I got out there to see, inspect what we were expecting to be done. One of the things I like about Dr. Myers is this pen says excellence in education every time. And he set a bar real high for us. And then there's Dr. Long over there. When he was interviewed, you know, it's funny how things really just stick out to you. And I'll never forget when he was interviewing, he said, we asked him, you know, what his main thing was. And he said, faith, family, and farm. And that struck me. I mean, a man of faith, a man who cares about his family, and that spills over every day in his job to the students in Mountain Home Schools. And of course, integrity was something that he mentioned in his interview. So, and then we go to principals and teachers and support staff. And one thing I noticed about principals and teachers and building secretaries is they care about the needs of students. And you have to be really careful of hanging out with principals and teachers, because what they try to do is get you involved with students in some way. And usually it's the most meaningful way. And I'm just going to give you 4 of the most meaningful things that I feel like happened to me. It wasn't building Hackler or working on those projects or remodeling buildings, although those are great. What fun it was to get to spend that money on all those projects. I loved it. But the things that jump into my mind when I think about reward or things that mean the most to me was when a principal said, Mike, would you come over here? We have a student in a wheelchair who has never had a swing. And so we ordered a wheelchair swing, and we installed it at the kindergarten. And I'll never forget the day that we finished it, and they brought her out, and we rolled her onto that swing. And the maintenance guys, me and a couple of maintenance guys, pushed her and let her swing. I'll never forget the sound of laughter that came from that little girl when she was swinging. And that's when the light started coming on for me about, it's not about buildings, it's about kids. And meeting their needs and making them feel a part, no matter what their disability, their level to learn. That's what it's about. I'll never forget the first time I drove a school bus. That's quite an experience. You got 65 kids on the bus, and you don't know where you're going. So you don't know the route, because there was about 52 routes back then. So you know about where you're going. But anyhow, you always choose someone who knows the route and the last one off the bus, and you have them sit next to you at the front of the bus, and they tell you where to stop. Well, anyhow, there's the kindergartner up on the front seat, and he said, bus driver, he said, could you hurry this bus up? And I said, why? He said, Power Ranger starts in 15 minutes. So, I'll never forget that. And then there was a time when, I believe it was Michelle McWilliams, had me come over to Pinkston, and she said, there's some boys that have a project, and they need a little help. And so I went over there one day, and I met with these boys, and they told me about their project. It wasn't my project. It wasn't my idea. This is 5 or 6 boys that came up with an idea that they wanted to be able to control forest fires. I guess maybe they'd been watching the news and seen California burning up or whatever. And they said, we need an automated way to sense when a fire breaks out and start pumps and put fire in it. So I just took went and got some parts from heaters. There are sensors and heaters that when the heat gets hot, it brings the blower on. I thought, we'll just act like the blower's a water pump. So anyhow, I brought those over here and let them see them and see how they work, show them how to wire them. Them boys took that project down to Little Rock and won first place at the state level. And I was jazzed because I thought, I'm not a teacher, but boy, it sure was fun to get to see the light come on when the boys saw how that stuff works. And really made me feel good. And then the last, I don't know how many years at kindergarten, I believe, I don't know if it was Janet Wood or one of the principals said, come over, and unload some kindergartners in the mornings, and help us out for a little bit. And I did, and boy, did that ever stick with me. It's like Joy said, you just don't, the healing power of a kindergartner hugging you is unbelievable. And I did that for several years. Every day I wouldn't miss a day because that's the best way to start your day. We had a lot of things going on, but I knew that if I went by the kindergarten every morning and opened the car doors, I had my priorities right because there are the people that I serve. And my job is to make sure they're safe, that they're warm, they're dry, they're in a clean environment, and they'll learn when you do that. And that was so when I saw them every day, it reminded me what my job was. And I never wanted to lose sight of that. And another thing they did for me, we lost our first grandchild on the day she was born. And I would go open those car doors and they healed me because I didn't have a grandchild and didn't think I'd ever have one. And we do. Things all turned around and changed. But during that time, they were my kids. They were my grandkids. And I just appreciate so much Janet Wood letting me serve kindergartners. That was great. So I'm going to wrap it up. There's nothing better than helping students when the light comes on. Yes, it was about buildings, but more, it was really about taking care of kids and educating kids. These are the memories you can't put a price on. I will always be thankful to Mountain Home Schools for the job and the opportunity to serve. Thank you.
My children on snowy nights, he has a nightmare at 3:30. Both years when we call them know they're school. But we had food and students. We introduce Mr. Dean Sanders.
Congratulations, Dean. Seems like just yesterday, you and I were riding through the hill country of Texas, checking Walmart stores. What good times we had. How much I learned from you back in those days. And as I went to Dallas and worked for you in Dallas, you were head of operations, taught us a lot, turned up the heat every once in a while, but you also turned it down when you needed to. Then the opportunity to work with you in the office, learned so much because you knew so much about the organization, from the merchandising department to the operations division to the big picture that you always talked about. You made us all better, and we're all better for it. I think about our hunting trips and what a competitor you always were and still are. It was fun to work for someone that wanted to compete, never wanted to settle for second best or almost. You just drove the best out of people. And it's so great to see you being recognized for what you've done for other companies and for our Walmart company. And I know Sam Walton would sure be proud because a lot of what you did was exactly the way Sam Walton liked to do it. He liked to win. He liked to take care of people. So again, congratulations and thanks so much for being you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Hayworth. I'm the CEO at Outdoor Cap, and I'm excited when Cindy Sanders called me and said I was going to get a chance to help introduce what I would say a business hero of mine, Mr. Dean Sanders, in the Mountain Home Hall of Honor. I thought I'm really appreciative that I got a chance to do this. I was fortunate to meet Dean early in my career at Walmart, fresh out of college, about 1984 to 1985. And Dean always had this swagger when you watched him operate within the stores. And at that point in time, he was a general merchandise manager over Hardlines and just did a great job of helping educate me, even at a young age. And for whatever reason, Dean took an interest in me as a mentor throughout my career. And when I think back of what that meant to me from a business standpoint, it really led to the successes I had. And I was fortunate to get a chance to work with Dean in a lot of different aspects, from Walmart and Sam's Club. But along with that, we developed a friendship. And that friendship, getting to know his family, spending time with them, whether we were hunting or get a chance to ride some of those great cutting horses that he had. Matter of fact, Dean put me on my first cutting horse. And so the passion that Dean helped lead me to, today I still have a great ranch that we have in Oklahoma, and that all started from Dean. Dean was one of those people that was always, he was tough. He expected a lot of you. But along with that, he was very fair and consistent about his expectations. Dean had a knack for giving you a challenge. But along with that, he had that knack for helping reassure you even when times were tough. And then when he put you in a tough situation, you do well, he'd give you another one and let you continue to develop. But Dean was always there to back you up and help you through that process. So I've just wanted to say this. There's nobody in my mind that's made more impact on my life. Along with that, when I think about all the thousands of people that Dean Sanders has impacted over his career in life, Dean, you've done a great job. I appreciate what you've done for me. Nobody's influenced me any more than you. We appreciate you. Congratulations. Job well done, Pop Pop.
Good evening, everybody. Cindy told me I need to kind of keep this quick because the Astros are getting ready to play. But first of all, I'd like to thank the foundation for this recognition, the award that's being presented here tonight. It's a great honor for me. to be here and to accept it. I don't get back to Mountain Home very often, but was here about a year ago and had the opportunity for a 50th, believe it or not, class reunion. So it was a great time. I really appreciate Rick Russell, Mrs. Hackler, Charlene, Barbara, Karen, Cindy, my nephew, Daniel, Jerry Cizelle, for being here tonight. I hadn't seen someone, Rick, how long? A long time, so thank you for coming. Secondly, I really would like to thank my wife, Cindy, who we met in the 5th grade here in Arkansas. Believe it or not, going on 50 years, so we've been through a lot. She's always been very supportive of my career and work. She took care of everything. There would be times in my career that I'd be overseas for 4 to 6 weeks. I couldn't even tell you what the bank account balance was. You know, she took care of everything, and I guess she spent the money wisely, but she sure saved shops a lot. So, but she's the rock of our family, and without her support, I wouldn't have been able to achieve a lot of the success that I've had in my life and career. And gosh, I've had a great life. She did a great job since I was gone a lot, raising our 2 kids, Kyle and Shannon, and now she does a great job schooling all our 5 grandkids. And Cindy, thank you. Appreciate it. You know, when I first came to Mountain Home, I moved here in the 3rd grade from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and my first experience here in Mountain Home was going to a 2-room school. And believe it or not, Mrs. Hackler was my first teacher in that 2-room school out in Oakland. And Bob, her husband, even coached us on baseball during those early years. We had a lot of fun. It was a great experience. You knew everyone. Now I'm here in Mountain Home, and I think the population when I moved here was probably 3,000 people. Used to know everyone here in this community, but it's sure grown and taken off. With also Mrs. Baker Shasheen was the other teacher in the school out there, and we came into the new grade school when I was in the 5th grade, and had the opportunity to meet a lot of new friends. One of my oldest friends has passed away. It was Bob Bryant. And my first meeting of Bob, he had a raccoon, that he would take down to the square on his bicycle. And we were riding bikes one day, and the coon's tail got caught in the spokes. And the coon took off, and we never saw the coon again. So, a lot of different things have changed here in Mountain Home, but it was a great experience to live here. It exposed me to the great outdoors. You know, we didn't have cell phones, video games, all those kind of things, so you kind of had to entertain yourself. So my friends and Rick and all of us, we go out water skiing, hunting, fishing, and still things that I do today with my family and friends. And it was just a great time to be raised in an area that everybody knew everyone, and everybody had a great time spending time together, not on cell phones. So a little different than today. You know, our football coaches, Rick, and a number of us played sports, and I remember Russell Sims and Frank Graham, who's passed away, taught us the disciplines, the hard work, and the things to win. And those things helped carry me forward on to some of the success that I had in life. It takes a lot of discipline, it takes a lot of hard work. I had the honor of working and being exposed to Sam Walton, that taught me how to be a servant leader. and develop people through the organization. As many people said here today, it's people that you develop that help support you that creates a great team. And those things that I started here and learned still apply today. I'm proud of the award. I'm proud to be from Mount Home. And go Astros, go Bombers.
Thank you, Dean. Jimmy Rice said today we get population is 2,217 because the sign was in our driveway. It's an honor to be in this Baxter Regional Medical Center. Such a part of this community.
We just feel very fortunate to be able to work so closely with the school district and with the kids in the school district, because we believe it's really part of us and part of our responsibility. Our purpose statement at Baxter Regional Medical Center is to ensure that we have access to high quality care for the people who live here. And the only way we can do that is to make sure that we remain comprehensive, independent, and community driven. And when you look at being community driven, then you have to look and say, what's our responsibility to this community and to the students in this community? Because it's really a win-win benefit for us, because A, it makes us a good, responsible corporate citizen of Mountain Home, but also it's our future workforce. And there's no way that we could survive without having people come from the high school and working in Baxter Regional Medical Center. We employ about 1,700 individuals here at Baxter Regional Medical Center, and we have to get that future workforce coming and interested in healthcare. 1 in 4 jobs in Baxter County are healthcare related. And so we have to start young and look for people to get interested in that type of work.
Working with the Health and Human Service Academy has really been a great delight for us here at Baxter Regional Medical Center. For the students to be able to come in here, work alongside of our staff and our nurses and our physicians, we're just blessed. And now the White Coat program, which is so exciting. The other things that we do, the little program that we have at the Sleeman Center, the mentoring of our staff for many of the classes that are going on there at the high school. I tell you, we love working with the East group. Those East students are just wonderful young people to work with. The sponsoring of the athletic programs, which we do in many instances. All of our students that have parents that work here at Baxter Regional, our grandparents, we give $1,000 scholarship to each one of those that graduate. So I think that's a great enhancement of the education process that we have here at Baxter Regional Medical Center. And then we had the privilege of joining with an Eagle Scout Ben camp here. We actually worked with Ben, and we furnished all the defibrillators for all the schools, and Ben then educated the teachers and the coaches and set those up. And that was a really neat project that we had over the past year.
It was real interesting. Our children moved here when they were in 10th and 11th grade, and I was curious how they would work into the school system and how the school system would compare to the school system in Kentucky. And both Jeannie and I were so impressed with the school system here, the workload and the focus that it had, because our children really didn't know for sure what their interests were, but they thought it was in healthcare. And so to be able to be in the HHS Academy really helped strengthen that background. And they actually did some rotations through the hospital. I remember, I'm sure Banks will not appreciate this, but I remember hearing that he passed out in the ER. when he was in high school. Now he is in his third year of residency as an anesthesiologist, and to me that just tells me how important it was to get that exposure at that young age. And Kirsten has her doctorate of advanced nurse practitioner, and she's practicing as a nurse practitioner. And so both of them have really fulfilled their health education because of the start that they got here at Mountain Home, and because of what the school district did.
Our partnership with the hospital is critical to everything that we do, and being able to provide our students with real world experiences and be able to get them out of the classroom and into the workplace. I also feel like that our partnerships with the hospital provides an excellent segue for growing our own and ensuring that our best and brightest stay here in Mountain Home and they're able to get an education and then continue to work.
You know, over the past 15 years that we have been collaborating with the school, I think on a really solid basis. One of the reasons that we've been able to do this is because of the leadership at the school, both from the superintendent's level all the way through the school board and the teachers and the support staff. That's been so vital to making this collaboration work for our community.
I recently heard Mr. Peterson say that 1 in 4 jobs within our community are healthcare related. And so I think that that's why the promise is so critical, because it gives our students the opportunity to start their post-secondary education here in Mountain Home and then be ready to be a workforce for folks like Baxter Regional Medical Center.
I think that the promise is just a vital and critical program that allows any and all students to be able to pursue their 2-year degree right here in Mountain Home. And that is just so important, again, to Baxter Regional Medical Center because of our need for individuals to pursue 2-year degrees and then to be able to work here. And if you can keep them in the community, and if they can find a way that they can afford to be able to get that degree and know that there's a job waiting for them, what better way to work together? And so between the scholarships that we offer, between the Promise program, closer we can work hand in hand and benefit the children that are going to school, that then benefits us in the workforce, and that's what we're looking for.
You know, we're excited about the Promise program. You know, I was very fortunate to get on at the beginning of stages of development of the Promise program, and we are so supportive of that from Baxter Regional. We hope people will continue to support it through their planned gifts, through their annual gifts. We think that partnership with us, the schools, and ASU Mountain Home makes a big impact on our community. Having those students be able to get 2 years of free education, then come back, hopefully work for us at Baxter Regional Medical Center in the medical field. So we're really excited about the Promise program.
Baxter Regional Medical Center has been a wonderful business partner for us. They provide us with internship opportunities at the hospital, which gives the students real world application. You learn all these things in theory in all the medical classes, and then you go practice them in the hospital. Hands-on learning, experiential learning is the highest form of learning that you can provide a student. They have been CSI providers for the past 12 years since CSI started. CSI is our HHS project that we do with our 6th graders at Pinkston Middle School, and they have unquestionably shown up every year, provided us with guest speakers, with services, with ambulance staff, whatever we need. They are always willing, ready, and able to provide that for us with no questions asked. They have provided demonstrations in my medical classes over the past 12 years. They've provided me with surgery techs, infection control. The hospital attorney has even come to speak in my classroom, EMTs, paramedics, and again, without question, one phone call, pick a date, and they're there. On a more personal note, I would like to say that I have just finished my treatment with cancer, and I have been at the hospital, and I have seen firsthand how wonderful their care is. They have top-notch quality care. From check-in to discharge, I had excellent care. I would like to thank Baxter Regional Medical Center for all the things they have done for us over the years, and I would like to congratulate them on this highest honor. It is much deserved.
Ladies and gentlemen, the CEO of Baxter Regional Medical Center, Mr. Vernon Peterson. He gets the job.
Thank you, Bob. On behalf of all the employees at Baxter Regional Medical Center, we'd like to just say thank you. We can't think of greater recognition or greater honor being a community hospital than receiving the Community Partner Award. And as I started thinking about it, reflecting on it, thought that, in order to receive this award, it was a whole lot easier to receive it working with such a great partner like the school district. It's amazing that how much we have in common and how similar we really are. If you look at our mission statements, their mission statement basically says that they provide excellence in education to every student, every time. Baxter Regional Medical Center's mission statement is to provide excellent patient care to every patient, every time. Very similar goals. Also, if you think about being a community partner, it's always so much easier to be a partner when you know somebody and have some longevity with that person, or with that organization, I should say. And at Baxter Regional Medical Center, we believe we've had a relationship with the school district for 53 years. If you go back, I believe, to 1966, the first high school student came to Baxter Regional Medical Center as a candy striper. So that started our relationship, and it's grown from there and blossomed from there. And as you heard in the videos and even heard from Joy and a few of the speakers, we have so many opportunities to have such a close working relationship, whether it's internships or whether it's speaking or whether it's the MASH program. There's just always so many ways that it benefits both of us, but that's what really makes it nice. And also it is a little easier when the benefit does benefit both. And we're hoping that the school district sees a benefit and the students see a benefit in getting the assistance from the hospital. But we know that we definitely benefit because we know that's where our future workforce comes from, and we know that it's critical to the community and to the survival of the whole community. And so we appreciate being able to work with the school district so much. And I guess the last thing that I think about, probably the most important thing when I think about how does it make it easier to be a good community partner, and that is having good people within the organizations. And I think you saw tonight the people who received the awards, a reflection of the great people who take the time and have the dedication to the students, and really wanted to make sure that whether you're working in maintenance or whether you're right there in the front line as a teacher, your best interest is how does that student get a good education. And that means our school district is so full of people with that desire, and it's just incredible how many good people there are. And having our children go through the school district, I know very well that there's a lot of caring people in the school district. And I also believe that Baxter Regional Medical Center is very blessed and very fortunate to have really the same type of people, just a little different mission, but they're caring and wanting to help people who are in need and in hurt, and turning that hurt into hope. and really truly caring about the patient. And it doesn't matter where they work at Baxter Regional Medical Center. So we just feel very blessed that we have the opportunity to be in this community, to have such great partners, and we are truly honored to be recognized as a community partner. And so thank you very much.
Hold on, Dean, you've got a couple more minutes and you'll be on your way to that Ashland game. I'd like to introduce Dr. Julia Kentz, the ASU Mountain Home, who's talking with us for a couple minutes about the promise.
Good evening. I want to speak to you with 3 different hats. 1, I'm a graduate of Mountain Home in 1979. 2, I'm the Vice President of the Education Foundation, and so we get to work with the school district and with the foundation frequently. And then lastly, I'm the Dean of the School of Health Sciences here at ASU Mountain Home. So we get to see the impact that the Promise has and has had on many of our students. So I thought I would tell you a few stories so that you understand, and we'll talk about the role that you could play in that. One example that I see at least twice a week when she's in class is a paramedic student. She graduated in 2018. She took our EMT class last spring. She's been preparing. She started in our paramedic program this fall. And next summer, we hope she'll be working as a paramedic at Baxter Regional. She currently works there as an EMT and is learning continuously, but she is able to do that and be a part, this could be a part of her educational process because of the Promise. She is able to live at home and continue her education without building up a lot of debt. So we think that is one more reason to support the Promise. A second example is a friend of mine who's been in some of our classes, and he kind of is going to come out of this with a different perspective. This student came in, he thought he knew where he wanted to go, thought he knew where his career was going to take him immediately, and he's tried a couple of different things, and it may not be that, but he now knows where he is going, and in a few months, he'll be joining the Air Force and going in a different career direction. But he was able to find those things out and discover what his passion really was by being able to come here. He was one of our Promise students, and the Promise has helped him as he stayed here in town and looked for the right place and direction for his life. And then another one, which is really a more general student, is somebody who comes here with an idea that they want to go finish a 4-year degree, maybe at ASU, maybe at U of A, UCA, almost any of our state schools. They can come here, get an associate's degree in 2 years, and probably walk away from ASU Mountain Home with none or very little debt when you combine the Promise, which pays for their tuition, and any other financial aid they may have. So we're helping these students have a much better start in their educational path as we provide the Promise for them. So what I want to tell you is the Promise will help our students by giving them a tuition-free education. It's not all expenses paid. They're still responsible for their fees, for any supplies that their programs may include, but it does help them with the tuition. And it also is the payer of last resort. So we pay at the end after financial aid is paid and some other scholarships have paid. So we are not paying full tuition on every student who chooses this, but it is a help to many, many of our students. When we started this program in 2017, we didn't know how long it would last. We were very unsure of what it would cost us. We had projected things, but we didn't know how much participation we would have. So as we started, we were excited to have around 100, a little less than 100 students participate from Mountain Home High School. The second year we had about that, and then this year we have fewer students. We're not exactly sure why. We have some ideas, but that's one of the areas that you can help us with. So there are two things I'm going to ask you to help us with. One, encourage students that you know to participate. If you have connections or you have kids, encourage them to participate in the Mountain Home Education Promise. This will allow them to get 2 years of tuition-free education. Yes, it does include them going to school here at ASU Mountain Home, but it also saves them and their parents a little bit of money for housing and things like that, if you still want them to live at home. So that's your choice, right? But the other thing you can help us with is by your donations. We are constantly working to raise money to build a foundation of money that will help support this promise. One of my goals, and I know when Molly started this, her goal was to do the promise. My goal is that we can tell kids in kindergarten that they can come to school for free. And they need to hear that. So you do your part and we'll do our part too. Thank you.
Back to your program, there's a little envelope if you'd like to make a donation or see some of us later, feel free to do so. Boy, a few months ago, Molly Morgan went to work at ASU. Thought, oh man, I'm not going to work. Because I just didn't wear her back. I didn't have anything to do with the president. She did it all. She brought it to where it is today. And now she's at ASU. She's still working with us. She's been a big help. And I thought, I don't see how we can replace her. But you know, we've done a pretty good job. This young lady just walked in off the street, I think. I don't know where she came. But she is here. She set all this up today. She's done the program. She's done everything. She's just done a magnificent job. And she's done it in a short time. In the meantime, she's had to have surgery and move. And she's still got it all together. And Jennifer, thank you very much for coming up and let everybody get to know.
Raise your hand if you're ready to go home. I just want to say thank you to the honorees. You guys were the best first group for me to work to induct, and so gracious and patient with the newbie, and I really, really appreciate that. If you're a foundation board member, would you mind standing up for me? Well, that's not the best looking people I've ever seen. Thank you so much. You guys are so supportive. You guys are a great group to work with, and I'm grateful to you. I want to thank Kelly Morris. She provided our dessert bar for us over there, so I'm very grateful to her and some other ladies at Central Office as well for their help with that. And I want to thank Molly as well for laying the groundwork for me in my new position. I worked with Molly. We sponsored student council together years ago at the high school, and I told her a couple days ago, I like the creative work. I like making your booklet and making your videos, but execution was new for me. And Molly was always the one who executed things when we worked together, so this was a little bit different role. She made this look really easy, and I'll tell you, it's not very easy, but I think this has been a wonderful night. I think that we had just a fantastic group. I loved going to Moccasin Creek to Mr. Ingram's house and spending the morning, and then a few days later, I was at Mike and Joy's on the back porch, looking over the White River, having coffee and visiting. And Dr. Long, I didn't want to come back to work that day, did I? I thought my morning was definitely the best part of my day. So I enjoyed visiting with Ron and Martin at Baxter Regional, and also with Cindy, and then with Dean through Cindy. Cindy's a great coordinator. And I just really appreciate all of you. You guys were a great group. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening and be safe going home. If there's anything that any interest you have in the foundation, questions you have, I'd love to visit with you. Give me a call, shoot me an email. We'd love to come sit down and talk with you about ways that you can connect with us. Thank you.